Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back to How to Train Your Gavin. I'm very excited, we have another new month ahead of us. February feels like it just came and went in the blink of an eye. To be honest, it's not even over yet, what am I saying? But it honestly does feel like yesterday I just filmed my February TBR. And here we are with the March one. There is so much to show you in this video. I could barely hold them all up on the thumbnail. Also, it's not all of the books. There are more. So a couple of things. A couple of my friends are doing readathons in March. We have Steph, my love Steph, from Steph Loves, doing the final book support group from March 14th to the 20th. And that is essentially a readathon where you just continue books that you've been reading in the series to help get you to that final book. I mean, it could be the final book that you need to read in order to finish that series. And that's what the final book support group is for, either to finish that final book or to get you towards that goal of finishing that series. Very excited. I don't have a set TBR for it. However, I'm sure there are some books that will work for that. I also have Jade from Book Rose doing, in the same week, the Magical Readathon 2. It's like the mini version of it. This one is called Aurelium Gear Up. So very excited about that as well. And again, I don't have a set TBR for that either. But when I get to that week, I'm sure there will be loads to play with. But they are some of my bestest friends and I wanted to shout them out. And I have their announcement videos in the description box down below. So do check them out. Do show them all the love. It would mean the world to me. So yes, those are the readathons. I'm going to get into the book club picks next. So I'm just going straight into this, aren't I? Like, no, hey, hi, how are you? How are you? How are you doing? Let me know in the comments. How is your day going? How is your February treating you? And what are you excited for March? Let me know in the comments. And also don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed and subscribe if you haven't already. Okay, so firstly, going to wrap up February just a little bit. I have pretty much finished all of the books. In fact, no, I have. There's only one book left on my official February TBR from my video, my TBR video, that I have left to read. And there are still 4 days after February. I'm definitely going to get that done. So we essentially won February. I might even do a February wrap up. I mean... But yes, I don't think there's going to be any books that I'll have to carry over from February into March. So, let's get into the March TBR. So firstly, for book clubs, middle grade monthly, we are doing Brightstorm by Vashti Hardy in the month of March. This is in anticipation of the third and final book, I think, in the Brightstorm Adventure series that is coming out in May. I don't know if it is actually the final book, it might be. Can't remember. This will be a reread for me. It will be so needed as well because it has been a couple of years since I last read this one. Excited because I do love Vashti Hardy and her world so much. This one follows Arthur and Maudie Brightstorm. They are told that their explorer father has died in an expedition to South Polaris. However, these twins do not believe everything they've been told, so they decide to set off on their own adventure to see if they can find their father and find out the truth behind what happened to this expedition. I did end up giving it 4 stars on an initial read. However, I think I could end up bumping it up to a 5 because I do remember loving the sequel as well. So yeah, this is another reread for me, but you know what, it's been a while and I've forgotten most of it, so let's see what happens. Then for my Patreon book clubs, we have the middle grade one, which we are doing The Red Pyramid by Rick Riordan, and this one is the first book in the Kane Chronicles series. All I know about this is that it involves ancient Egyptian mythology, and the main characters, Cora and Sadie, accidentally unleash the evil god of chaos. I have been wanting to read this for a very long time. In fact, I think I bought this copy 10, 11 years ago, and I hate this cover, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a big fan of it. But it doesn't matter, because this has been on my TBR for the longest time, probably the longest of any book on my shelves. I mean, that might be a lie, but, you know, it's near enough. And with the announcement of the Percy Jackson TV show on Disney Plus coming, it just seems like the perfect time to dive into more of Rick Riordan's works. So yes, very excited to read this one with my patrons for the Middle Grade Book Club. And then for the YA and Adult Book Club that we do, we have decided on Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. This will be my first ever Agatha Christie book. I am so excited. Not only am I going to read Murder on the Orient Express, but I do also have Death on the Nile and Then There Were None. So I want to try and do maybe a reading vlog of reading these 3 Agatha Christie books, trying out my first Agatha Christie for the very first time. Super duper excited about that. I don't think I need to tell you what these ones are about. Murder on the Orient Express, there's a murder on a train. Death on the Nile, there is a murder on a ship thing. And then There Were None. I think there is like a party that everyone gets invited to, somebody dies, and the guests are all suspects but also potential victims. It's almost like Murder Mystery March for me, and it's really cool because I do have a couple more that are on my TBR. But yeah, I want to do an Agatha Christie reading vlog, reading Agatha Christie for the first time. I hope you will stick around to join me on that adventure. So those are all the official book clubs. The next thing I'm going to show you cost me like triple figures, and it's over 1,200 pages, I think. There are 2 columns on every page as well. I'm planning on reading it in 1 week, or at least try to. I don't think I'll get through all of it, but that is, and you're going to think like, what the hell, but that is Kingdom Hearts, the complete novel collector's edition. So I am a huge Kingdom Hearts fan. It is my favourite video game series of all time. Love the game so much. In every single time a game came out, I believe a novelization came out as well. There's been like 12 games or something like that. 3 main games and then 12 with all of these side games and stuff. I think it might be more or less. There's enough to fill 1,200 pages. So this huge chonker of a book I thought would be perfect because it is the 20th anniversary of Kingdom Hearts in March. So I'm doing like a little kind of Kingdom Hearts themed week with my patrons. And I thought it would be really, really cool to, well, one, play some games, see if I can get Twitch all set up to do that, but also to read some Kingdom Hearts. I'm going to show you this book because this isn't the actual book. It opens up, and I will show this in a book haul video properly, but it opens up. You have, I mean, you can't say shit, can you? It has like collector art cards in this envelope, but I'm not showing that right now. And then this huge book, which I always struggle to get out. Okay, so then this huge book. I mean, it's gorgeous. It is gorgeous. I'm just going to show you an example of the pages, what I'm getting myself into. I should also say, I think these are written by different people, but the first one, Kingdom Hearts the novel, was written by Tomoko Kanamaki. It smells so good as well. It doesn't smell like a book, it smells like something else. I mean, there are illustrations throughout, which might help, but like this is the font. This is the text. It's tiny text, like really small, and there are 4 columns per spread. 2 columns per page, 4 columns per spread. And like, I mean, there are pages that are like this where it's just that, but it's a lot. It is a lot. 1,215 pages. So that is why I plan on reading the first week of March and then uploading a vlog for it at the end of March as part of March Caprice, which is a fan-run Kingdom Hearts event, which I'm so excited for. And I submitted an idea for a vlog to be premiered during that time. So that's going to be really interesting. I'm so excited that I got accepted for that. But yeah, I'm such a gamer nerd. I'm such a Kingdom Hearts nerd, okay? So yeah, this is what I'm going to attempt to read. I'm going to say how much I read of it and get through it. If you don't know, Kingdom Hearts is essentially follows Sora, and he gets separated from his friends and he has to go through like different Disney worlds in order to find them. That's like the bare bones version of it. This story is so long and convoluted and confusing at times, which is why I think the novels will really help me understand the lore and the story of the games and like this world. But I have been a fan of Kingdom Hearts for like 15 years now. I think it was 2006 when I discovered Kingdom Hearts. So I'm just so excited. I know it's huge. I know it's big. I'm here for it. I love it. I can't wait. And then another big project I want to do in March is I have to like my friends' favorite books or I unsubscribe from their channel video series. So I want to do episode 1 in March, and essentially in a bag I have like about 30 names in here of, you know, quite a few of my booktube friends, and, you know, draw from that, pick people's names out randomly, so I don't know who's going to be in each episode. I just played with my patrons on Play Your TBR right live, and I have my first 4 friends. So I essentially have a list of 2 books from all of my friends' best books of 2021 video. Hopefully the books that I've picked will be ones that I like, so I don't have to unsubscribe from their channels. The 4 people I picked, I'll go one by one, and then the books that I am reading for them. So the first person I picked out was Olivia from Olivia Reads a Latte. So excited. I love her so much. And the 2 books I had to decide between was Shipped by Angie Hockman and Burning Girls by CJ Tudor. So I played Play Your TBR right with my patrons. They said hi or lower, and the book I'm ending up reading is Burning Girls by CJ Tudor. So I believe this one follows Reverend Jack and his teenage daughter Flo, and they move to a new city called Chapelcroft. Yeah, Chapelcroft. I've done my research. A vicar committed suicide 2 months before, and then there have also been really strange things happening in this small community for hundreds of years. Flo is also being plagued by visions of burning girls, which I guess is where the title comes from. And this book is perfect because I do want to read more thrillers, horrors, all of that jazz in 2022. So this is the book I'm going to be reading for Olivia, and if I don't like it, I unsubscribe. I'm joking. And then next, I picked out Erin from Booked and Busy. So excited, but I was also so scared. One of them was Malice by John Gwynne. I mean, Malice wasn't in Erin's Best Books of 2021 video, but Ruin was, which was a part of that series by John Gwynne. But I haven't read Malice, so I thought, you know what, in its place, I will put Malice here instead. And Erin also picked People With Me on Vacation by Emily Henry. So it was between those 2, and I am actually going to end up reading Malice by John Gwynne. Yes, I am reading that in March. A few people have asked me to read this for a while now, and I will. And this one is going to be representing Erin, and I'm super duper excited to finally get the hype on this one. And Malice couldn't be more different to the Burning Girls. Like, that vlog It isn't even filmed yet or anything like that, but it's like already a mess. I try to think how it's going to turn out, quite honestly. So in this book, I think we follow someone called Corbin who watches other boys train up to be warriors, and he's very jealous because I don't think he's allowed to do that himself. Honestly, the plot summary is all this and not enough that, so I can't really summarize it very well, but I do think Corbin is the main character, and he loses those he loves, and he must go on an adventure. Whoa, what a beautiful story. I'm already tearing up. And then I picked out Joel from Fictional Fates, and for Joel, in his Best Books of 2021 video, there was Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which I actually own. I actually own Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and Normal People by Sally Rooney, which I unhauled about a year ago. And fortunately, Malibu Rising won, so I'm reading Malibu Rising. A little bit scared of this one because I did love Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, but I wasn't the biggest fan of Daisy Jones and the Six. All I know about this is that it is set in the 80s. There are a brother and sister, they're having a party. The party gets out of control, the house ends up in flames. God, I'm so good at summarising books. So good. I think this might be connected to Daisy Jones or Evelyn Hugo. I think it's connected to some other Taylor Jenkins Reid work. And I have been meaning to read this for quite some time. So I'm glad this one won. I'm very excited, but so scared that I'm going to end up hating this. And don't worry, Joel, I probably won't unsubscribe. But it's going to be interesting either way. And it takes it off my physical TBR. And then the last person I picked out of the bag was Mel Reed's, my wife. I love her. And for Mel, it was either Our Violent Delights by Chloe Gong or Middle Game by Shonen Maguire, and where is it? The winner was Middle Game by Shonen Maguire. And I don't know why there is like some kind of sticky stuff on the cover here. I'm gonna have to try and clean this. It's been on there for a long time. This has been on my TBR for like 3 years. So it's a good job that this one came up. I'm very excited to finally read this one. I believe this follows twins Roger and Dodger, and that always used to make me laugh for some reason. It's some kind of sci-fi. It is something that everybody else has read except for me. It is what it is. And I'm going to clean it before I read it. I genuinely don't know what that is. I don't know what it is. But yes, this is what I'm going to be reading for Mel to see if my wifey has the best taste. So yeah, in that whole video, it will be The Burning Girls by C.J. Tudor, Malice by John Gwynne, Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and Middle Game by Shonen Maguire. It's like the weirdest mix of books in one video. Other books that I'm going to be reading in the month of March are The Appeal by Janice Hallett. I'm going to be buddy reading this with Claire and some of my patrons, and that one's going to be a fun time. I was never really interested in The Appeal when it first came out. It was very hyped, and I didn't know if the whole email format of the book would appeal to me, but essentially it is a murder mystery told in the form of like emails and text messages, I think, where I think there is a murder at a theatre, or a drama production even, and it is a fiendishly clever whodunit that puts you in the shoes of like the detective trying to figure out this mystery, I think. I mean, it sounds good, but I just don't know if I'm going to click with the format. So it's probably a good job that I'm buddy reading this with Claire, because I don't know if I would see it all the way through. But it will be interesting to see if I actually do end up loving it. Stranger things have happened. I also want to attempt to read House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. I might end up reading this for the Final Books of War group, because this is part of a series I need to continue. This one is the sequel to House of Earth and Blood. So in the first book anyway, we followed half fae, half human Bryce, and there is this shocking travesty that happens like 80 pages in. It did shock me, not gonna lie. And that whole event has kind of affected Bryce. And even 2 years later, the murderer strikes again. And we have Bryce kind of team up with Hunt, who is this like fallen angel. And to try and navigate Crescent City, which is this urban fantasy kind of place. There are different creatures and stuff like that. It's been so long since I read that book. It's been like 2 years. So I would have ideally reread the first Crescent City before diving into this one, but I ain't got the time. So I'm just going to dive straight into this one. Hopefully things start flooding back to me and I can just enjoy, you know? But I've heard good things. I've heard that people have been quite shocked by it and stuff like that. And I'm just like, what are people talking about? Because I need to know now. So I'm excited to see what all the fuss is about. I also want to read The Lake of the Dead by Andre Bjerg. I've mentioned this book so many times recently, but it finally came out and it was an anticipated book, horror, set in Dead Man's Cabin like 100 years ago. A man killed his sister and her lover, decapitated them, threw their bodies in a lake. He drowned himself by going in after them, and now whenever somebody stays at the cabin, they are possessed by this madman. It has just been translated into English, I believe, for the first time. I might be wrong on that, but it is one of Norway's most shocking and best horror novels and crime novels ever. So I'm very excited to give this one a read. I was going to save it for the end of April for reasons. I don't know if I can hold out that long the excitement is too high for this. If I struggle with the rest of this TBR, I might skip over that one and save it for the end of April for an idea. We'll see. And then the last book that I do want to try and get to at the end of the month is On a Sea of Glass, The Life and Loss of the RMS Titanic by Tad Fitch, J. Kent Layton and Bill Wormstead. This is a non-fiction book about the disaster that happened with the Titanic. The anniversary is coming up in April. I usually do get a little bit, not obsessed, but I do get even more interested in what happened with the Titanic this time of year. Not that I ever learn anything like new each year, but this has been said to be like one of the best non-fiction books on the Titanic. So I want to give this one a read, maybe do a video on like the more shocking things I've learned from it. This is also in column format. I don't know why, but March is the month of columns. But it does have a lot of like diagrams, tables, photographs, you know, all of that stuff. So I think this will be really interesting. But it's not often I read non-fiction, so I don't know. But we're going to give it a try. I think we're going to give it a really good go. And yeah, like literally every single year, round about this time, I get sucked into this wormhole of trying to find out more new things about the Titanic, and yeah, that is just my personality. During December, January, it's bullet journals. Like March and April, it's the Titanic. Yeah, there we have it. That is my TBR for March. So it's going to be a super interesting month, honestly. I'm excited for the content, but also a little bit intimidated. But I always am with TBRs. But I've smashed January and I smashed February. So here's to smash in March. I didn't mean that to look as violent as it looked. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please leave a like if you did and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what your plans are in March. Are you taking part in any readathons? What are you reading for March? Let me know. I also want to give a huge thank you to my patrons for always being the best, supportive. I love you guys so much. You can find a lot of my socials in the description box if you want to follow me on any of those. But I hope I will see you in the next video. Bye.